Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be taking a look at Real Vision.
Oh, yeah, Real Vision.
Yeah, this financial media platform that's really become kind of a go-to for a lot of people interested in, the kind of the bigger picture of finance, the global economy, markets, investment strategies.
I think they do a really great job of, it's one thing to just report on what's happening,
Yeah.
but they bring in so many experts that have different viewpoints, and they actually debate these big questions that are shaping, the financial world.
Yeah, and they kind of make it accessible too, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not just for, the Wall Street insiders.
Yeah.
It's for anyone who's, got a 401k or just, interested in how the world works.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that I really appreciate about Real Vision is that they're not afraid to tackle some of these really complex issues. Like,
Yeah.
for example, right now everybody's talking about inflation.
Right.
Are we headed for a recession? Or are we
Yeah.
going to see continued growth? They bring in these experts who present different sides of the argument.
Yeah, and they do a good job, I think, of kind of, cutting through the noise
Right.
and getting to the heart of the matter.
Absolutely. And one of the things that they do that I think is really helpful is they connect those global trends to tangible investment strategies.
Yeah.
So it's not just theory. They're actually talking about, how this might impact your portfolio.
Yeah, like, okay, so inflation's up.
Yeah.
What does that mean for me as an
Yeah,
investor?
yeah.
Should I be buying gold?
Right.
Should I be, shorting the market? I mean, what's the play here? And
Right.
I think Real Vision does a good job of kind of connecting those dots.
Yeah. And they had this really interesting interview, I think it was with an economist.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, while everyone's panicking about inflation, there are actually certain sectors that could benefit from this environment.
Right.
And he even pinpointed a few companies that he thought were poised to really thrive in an inflationary environment.
That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like actionable,
Yeah.
insights. Like, all right, so everyone's freaking out about inflation, but okay, if that's the case, where are the opportunities?
Right. Where should I be looking?
Got-
What are the smart money moves in this kind of situation?
Yeah.
And they really get into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what, people are looking for.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like, okay, that's interesting, but how do I make money?
Right. Exactly.
Or how do I protect my money?
Yeah. Or how do you not lose money?
Yeah, exactly.
I think
Right.
that's a big part of it too.
And that's a great segue because, one thing we can't ignore is cryptocurrency.
Yeah, that's the elephant in the room right now.
Right, like the 800-pound gorilla,
Yeah.
and Real Vision, they don't shy away from it.
No, they don't.
They explore it, but they also approach it with a dose of caution, I think.
Yeah, I think they present it with a balanced view,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of hype out there.
Oh yeah.
But they're also, they talk about the potential of the technology, the revolutionary, potential of blockchain.
Yeah.
But they also warn you about the risks.
Right, and it is the Wild West out there in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah, this is like, the early days of the internet,
Right, yeah.
where there's just so much happening. And a lot of it is very speculative.
Right.
And it can be hard to separate, the signal from the noise.
Yeah.
But I think they do a pretty good job of at least, kind of laying out the landscape.
Yeah. So what stood out to you in terms of their crypto coverage?
Well, one of the things that I thought was really interesting was their analysis of decentralized finance, or DeFi.
Yeah.
And, they explain how it's essentially disrupting the traditional financial system.
Right.
And they give you real world examples of how people are using DeFi to access financial services in a completely new way.
And that's the thing I appreciate about them is they don't just, throw out these buzzwords.
Yeah.
Like DeFi or blockchain or whatever it is.
Right.
They actually break it down
Yeah.
and explain it in a way that, even if you're not a tech expert,
Yeah.
you can kind of grasp it.
And I think that's really important because, a lot of this stuff can be intimidating. And, if you don't understand the technology, it's easy to just kind of, tune it out.
Right. Dismiss it.
But I think Real Vision does a good job of making it accessible
Absolutely.
and showing you why it's relevant.
Yeah. And I think, one of the things that I've always appreciated about them is that they don't just focus on crypto.
Oh.
I mean, they cover,
a wide range of assets.
yeah, stocks, bonds,
Yeah.
real estate, commodities.
Precious metals.
Yeah, precious metals.
They're really trying to give you a comprehensive view of the market and help you understand how different asset classes can perform in different economic conditions.
Right. So it's not just about, what's the hot stock today?
Right.
It's about, okay, how do I build a diversified portfolio
Exactly.
that can, withstand different, market cycles?
Yeah. What are the long-term trends that I need to be paying attention to?
Right. And speaking of, kind of alternative investments, they have a lot of great content on precious metals.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Do you remember that episode where they had that panel discussion on gold?
Oh, yeah, the gold versus, other assets.
Yeah, like, is gold a hedge against inflation, or is it a relic of the past?
Yeah. Is it a barbarous relic?
Right, exactly.
Or is it, the ultimate safe haven asset?
Right, and they had, the gold bugs on one side,
Yeah.
and then they had, the skeptics on the other side.
Right.
And it was fascinating to watch them go back and forth.
Oh, yeah, it was like a financial duel.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it really made you think about, okay, what is the role of gold in a modern portfolio?
Yeah. Do I need some gold?
Yeah.
Do I not need some gold?
Yeah, what are the arguments for and against it?
Right, and I think that's, just one example of how Real Vision does a great job of connecting global events
Yes.
to, market movements.
They have this amazing ability to kind of zoom out
Yeah.
and look at the big picture and see, how these geopolitical events,
Yeah.
like trade wars, political instability, how these things can ripple through the markets.
Yeah, because it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day.
Right.
Oh, the Dow went up 100 points today.
Right.
But you got to kind of step back and say, okay, but what's driving that?
Yeah. Right. What are the underlying forces?
Yeah. Are there geopolitical risks out there?
Yeah. Are there, currency wars happening?
Exactly.
Are there, trade tensions that are, bubbling under the surface?
And Real Vision, I think, does a good job of kind of bringing those things to light.
Yeah. I think they really emphasize the importance of understanding the world around you
Yeah.
if you want to make informed financial decisions.
It's not just about, looking at a chart.
Right.
You got to understand the context.
Exactly. You got to understand the bigger picture.
Yeah. And they even get into things like national debt levels,
Oh, yeah.
government spending.
Fiscal policy.
You know how these things can impact currency values,
Interest rates.
interest rates, economic growth.
And ultimately, your investments.
Yeah. And, there was one analyst on there, I can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah. I remember that guy.
He was talking about how, government policies
Mm-hmm.
can sometimes create more volatility in the markets.
Yeah. He was saying that, sometimes the government can be like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kind of wreaking havoc.
Unintended consequences.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how much power governments have to influence the markets,
Oh, it's incredible.
for better or for worse.
Yeah. Yeah. And they can do things that, really benefit the economy,
Yeah.
but they can also do things that really hurt it.
Yeah. So wouldn't you say, though, that Real Vision's analysis goes beyond just the headlines?
Absolutely.
They're not just reacting
Yeah.
to the latest, news story.
No, they're really trying to provide a deeper analysis,
Sure.
and they spend a lot of time looking at history.
Yes.
They analyze past financial crises,
Yeah.
they look at market cycles, and
Yeah.
they try to, glean lessons from the past.
Yeah. That documentary they did on the 2008 financial crisis.
Oh, yeah, that was fascinating.
That was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, just breaking down, what caused it, how it unfolded,
Uh-huh.
and what we can learn from it.
Yeah, I mean, that's so valuable because, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
Right.
And so I think it's really important to understand, what happened in the past so that we can hopefully avoid making the same mistakes in the future.
But with all this talk about, economic turmoil and potential crises, does Real Vision ever get a little doom and gloom?
It's funny you should say that because I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
But I think they actually strike a really good balance
Yeah.
between acknowledging the risks and highlighting the opportunities.
Yeah.
They're not Pollyannish.
Right.
They're not, sugarcoating things.
They're realists.
But they're also not, chicken little, the sky is falling.
Right.
I think they're realistic,
Yeah.
but they're also optimistic.
Yeah. And I think that's important because, nobody wants to be constantly bombarded with negativity.
Right.
Especially when it comes to their money.
Yeah.
You don't want to be constantly feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to lose everything.
Right.
But it's also important to be aware of the risks
Yeah.
so you can protect yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's all about risk management. understanding the risks and then taking steps to mitigate them.
Okay, so we've talked about the topics they cover.
Yeah.
Macro trends, investment strategies, all that stuff. But how about their approach?
Yeah.
Like how do they actually convey this information?
Well, that's what makes them really unique, I think, because they don't just rely on dry lectures and boring spreadsheets.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to watch that?
Right.
So how do they make finance interesting?
Well, they use a variety of different formats. They have in-depth interviews,
Sure.
they have panel discussions, they do documentary-style features.
Interesting.
They even have some animated explainers,
Oh, wow.
and they bring in some of the biggest names in finance. People like Raoul, Grant Williams, these are legends.
Yeah.
And they don't shy away from asking the tough questions.
Yeah.
They really grill these guys.
Yeah, it's like you're getting a behind-the-scenes look at how these big-time investors think about the world.
Right.
And it's not just about the big names. They also feature interviews with everyday investors.
Yeah, they do a good job of highlighting different perspectives.
Yeah.
It's not just about what the hedge fund managers are doing.
Right.
It's about, what are regular people doing?
Yeah.
How are they approaching investing?
What are their strategies?
Yeah. And I think that's really valuable because, it's easy to feel intimidated by the world of finance.
Yeah.
You think, oh, this is just for, rich people or Wall Street insiders.
Right.
But Real Vision, I think, does a good job of making it clear that anyone can learn this stuff.
Yeah.
And anyone can make smart financial decisions.
It's like they're that, knowledgeable friend
Yeah.
who can explain things in a way that you can actually understand.
Exactly. And they do it without all the jargon and complexity.
Yeah.
They make it simple.
And that's important because, finance is complicated enough.
Oh, yeah, it is. As it is. And there's so much information out there.
Right.
Can be overwhelming. Yeah. But I think Real Vision does a good job of kind of cutting through the clutter.
Yeah, distilling it down to the essentials.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about the topics they cover. We've talked about their approach.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about their style.
Yeah.
Like how they present it all.
Well, that's another thing that I really appreciate about them.
Yeah.
Is that they have this really high production quality.
Yeah.
It's not just some guy in his basement with a webcam.
Yeah.
They have great graphics, they use animation, they have cinematic footage.
Yeah, it's like you're watching a documentary on HBO or something.
Exactly.
Very high quality.
And the music is great, too.
Yeah.
It's not your typical, elevator music. It's very dramatic, very cinematic.
Yeah. It adds to the experience.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
And I think it shows that they respect their audience.
Absolutely.
They're not just throwing something together haphazardly.
Right.
They're putting a lot of thought and effort into creating a premium experience.
Yeah.
And that's impressive considering that, a lot of their content is free on YouTube.
It is.
So they're not even charging people for this.
Right.
And yet they're still putting out this really high quality stuff.
And I think it speaks to their mission.
Yeah.
They're really trying to democratize financial education.
Yeah.
And empower people to take control of their financial future.
Now, with all this praise, is there anything about Real Vision that you think could be improved or areas where they fall short?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
It's always good to be critical.
Yeah.
Even of something that you admire.
Absolutely.
And, one thing that comes to mind is that they do tend to focus heavily on macroeconomics and global events.
Right.
And while that's incredibly valuable,
Yeah.
I think they could perhaps dedicate a bit more time to personal finance topics.
Like budgeting and saving and debt management.
Things that are really relevant to everyday people
Yeah.
because, not everybody's trying to, trade currencies or, pick stocks.
Yeah.
But everybody needs to know how to manage their money.
Yeah. I think that's a good point.
Yeah. So I think that would be one area where they could maybe, expand their coverage a little bit.
Yeah. And while their YouTube channel is great,
Right.
it's a great introduction to their content.
Yeah.
It's really just a taste of what they offer.
Right.
The full Real Vision experience is on their premium platform,
Yeah.
which can be a little pricey
It can be, yeah.
for some people.
Yeah.
So, it'd be great if they could offer maybe a more affordable subscription tier
Yeah.
or maybe even some free resources
Right.
that, delve a little deeper into some of these personal finance topics.
Yeah. I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah. But even with those, minor suggestions,
Yeah.
I think Real Vision is an invaluable resource for anyone who wants to understand the financial world. Absolutely.
Regardless of their level of expertise.
Yeah. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting out,
Yeah.
I think Real Vision has something to offer you.
Yeah, I agree.
They've curated an incredible collection of insights
Yeah.
from some of the brightest minds in finance.
Yeah.
And they've done it in a way that's engaging, thought-provoking, and even entertaining.
Yeah. Well said. I mean, it's not just about learning from the experts. It's about engaging in the conversation.
Right.
And I think Real Vision does a great job of fostering that sense of community.
Yeah.
Among their viewers.
Yeah.
Encouraging them to share their perspectives, to challenge each other's ideas.
Yeah.
It's like a global think tank.
It is.
For people interested in finance.
Yeah, and I think that's so important because, it's not about just being told what to think.
Right.
It's about thinking for yourself.
Yeah.
And developing your own informed opinions.
Exactly. And that's what Real Vision is all about.
It's about empowering you to think critically about the financial world.
And take control of your financial future.
Exactly. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
But we've only scratched the surface of what Real Vision has to offer.
Yeah.
So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive even deeper into their content,
All right.
exploring some of their most insightful analyses and thought-provoking interviews. Stay tuned.
All right, so welcome back.
Back for more Real Vision goodness.
Yes. So, we were talking about, all the different topics. They cover the breadth of their content.
Yeah.
But let's dive a little deeper into some of the specific insights that I think they offer.
Okay.
One of the areas where I think they really excel is in breaking down those, complex market mechanics,
Yeah, like they don't just tell you, oh, the market went up or the market went down.
Right.
It's like they actually dissect the why.
Exactly.
Like, what are the forces driving those movements?
Yeah. Yeah. And remember that episode they did where they explained how algorithmic trading is changing the game?
Oh, yeah, that was mind-blowing.
It was like watching The Matrix, all of a sudden you see the code
Yeah.
behind the market.
Like, whoa.
And you realize, okay, there's these computer programs out there that are making trades at lightning speed.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
It is a little bit unsettling.
Yeah.
Because, you think about, how can a regular investor even compete with that?
Right.
But what they do a good job of is explaining that it's not about fighting the machines. It's about understanding how they work.
Yeah.
And actually using that to your advantage.
Yeah, like knowing the rules of the game.
Exactly.
But even if you're not the one writing the code.
Yeah, if you understand the triggers that set off these automated trades, you can anticipate market movements.
Yeah, and another area where they do a great job is covering market psychology.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The emotional side of investing.
Yeah, fear and greed and how those, emotions drive markets.
Yeah, and they had that interview with the behavioral economist.
Oh, yeah.
Who was talking about all those cognitive biases that lead us to make irrational decisions.
Like you think you're being rational.
Yeah.
But actually you're just being
emotional.
Yeah.
And letting your emotions get the best of you.
Yeah, and they do a good job of, kind of holding up a mirror to our own investing habits and saying hey,
are you really making rational decisions?
Are you sure about that?
Or are you just, kind of following the herd and, letting your emotions dictate your trades?
Yeah, and one of the things I appreciate about Real Vision is that they don't shy away from, challenging conventional wisdom.
No, they don't.
They're
contrarian.
Yeah.
They want you to think for yourself
Yeah.
and question everything.
What's an example of that?
Well, remember that episode where they were debating the future of the U.S. dollar?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And, all the financial analysts out there were saying, the dollar's doomed. It's going to collapse.
Right.
Hyperinflation's coming.
Right.
But Real Vision brought in this expert who made a really compelling case for why the dollar might actually strengthen.
Wow. Okay.
In the coming years.
That's a contrarian view for sure.
It is.
Yeah. So what was their reasoning?
Well, they were saying that, the dollar has this deep liquidity.
Okay.
And it's still the world's reserve currency.
Right.
And that gives it a resilience that a lot of people underestimate.
Yeah.
And they also pointed out that, whenever there's there's always more than one side to every story.
Especially in finance.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Where narratives can shift so quickly.
Absolutely.
One day everybody's bullish, the next day everybody's bearish.
Right. And that's where I think, Real Vision's focus on multiple perspectives becomes so valuable.
Yeah.
Because they're not telling you what to think.
Right.
They're presenting you with the arguments
Yeah.
and letting you draw your own conclusions.
Listening to you talk about all these different insights,
Yeah.
it's clear that, Real Vision goes way beyond just picking stocks.
Oh, yeah.
It's about like fostering a deeper understanding
Yeah.
of the forces shaping the global financial system.
It's about financial literacy.
Yeah.
It's about understanding how the system works
Yeah.
and how it impacts you.
Yeah. And they do a great job of connecting the dots,
Yeah.
between seemingly unrelated events
Mm.
and revealing those hidden patterns and connections.
Yeah, they're giving you X-ray vision.
Yeah, exactly. Into the financial
Yeah,
world.
and you know what else impresses me?
What's that?
It's not just the content itself. It's the way they present it.
Oh, you mean the production quality?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's top notch.
It's so good.
It feels like you're watching, like you said, a documentary on a premium cable channel,
Yeah.
not just, some random YouTube video.
Right. And they use, high quality graphics and animation.
Cinematic footage.
Yeah.
They really put a lot of effort into making it visually appealing.
And the music.
Oh, the music's fantastic.
It's so good.
It's like, they're trying to create a mood, an atmosphere.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, hey, finance doesn't have to be boring.
Right.
We
We can make this stuff exciting.
can make it cool.
Yeah.
And that level of polish, it really makes a difference. It does. It shows that they respect their audience.
Yeah.
And they want to deliver a premium experience,
Yeah, and I think that speaks to their overall mission.
which is to democratize financial education
Yeah.
and empower individuals
Yeah.
to take control of their financial futures.
Now, with all this praise, are there any areas where you think they could improve or where they fall short?
That's a good question. I think it's always important to be critical,
Yeah.
even of things that you admire.
Yeah.
One thing that comes to mind is that they do tend to focus very heavily on macro trends
Yeah.
and global events,
Right.
which is great.
Yeah.
But I think they could perhaps dedicate a little bit more time to personal finance.
Like budgeting and saving,
Exactly.
debt management.
Yeah, things that are, really relevant to everyday people.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Because not everybody's, trading currencies
Right.
or, picking stocks,
Yeah.
but everybody needs to know how to manage their money.
Right.
So I think that would be one area where they can maybe expand their coverage a little bit.
Yeah.
And, while their YouTube channel is great, it's really just a taste. Yeah.
Of what they offer.
It's the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To get the full Real Vision experience, you really need to subscribe to their premium platform.
Which can be expensive.
It can be.
Yeah.
For some folks.
Yeah. So, it'd be great if they could offer maybe a more affordable tier.
Yeah.
Or maybe even some free resources that delve a little deeper into some of these personal finance topics.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
But, even with those minor suggestions,
Yeah.
I still think Real Vision is an invaluable resource
Absolutely.
for anyone who wants to understand the financial world,
Yeah.
regardless of their expertise.
Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting out,
Yeah.
I think Real Vision has something to offer you.
Yeah.
They've curated this incredible collection of insights from some of the brightest minds in finance.
Yeah.
And they've done it in a way that's engaging and thought-provoking and even entertaining.
Well said.
Yeah,
and it's not just about learning from the experts. It's about engaging in the conversation.
Right.
And I think Real Vision does a great job of fostering that sense of community,
I do.
among their viewers.
Yeah.
Encouraging them to share their perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
challenge each other's ideas.
Yeah, it's like a global think tank,
It is.
for people who are interested in finance.
Yeah, and it's not about being told what to think.
Right.
It's about thinking for yourself
Exactly.
and developing your own informed opinions.
And that's what Real Vision's all about.
Exactly.
It's about empowering you to think critically
Yeah.
about the financial world.
And to take control of your financial future.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here,
We have.
but we've only scratched the surface of what Real Vision has to offer.
Yeah, just a glimpse.
So let's take another quick pause, and when we come back, we'll wrap up this deep dive with some final thoughts and takeaways.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we're back, wrapping up our deep dive on Real Vision. One thing that really strikes me is just, how they manage to make finance feel like exciting,
Yeah.
like an adventure.
I know. It's like a total mind trip,
It is.
You get sucked into these ideas and you find yourself like wanting to learn more
Yeah.
about how the world really works.
Yeah, and it's not just about like the intellectual stimulation either.
Right.
It's about like realizing that, understanding finance
Uh-huh.
is crucial. Like it's important for making, good decisions in your life.
It impacts your life in so many ways.
Yeah, your future, your freedom,
Your freedom. Yeah.
and I think that's a key takeaway for our listener.
Yeah.
Real vision, it's not just for like, Wall Street guys.
No.
It's for anyone who wants to kind of, take control of their financial destiny.
Yeah, it's about empowerment. It's about giving you the tools to understand
Yeah.
how to manage your money.
Yeah, and they don't give you like all the answers, but they teach you how to ask the right question.
Yeah, to think critically
Yeah.
about the information that's out there.
Like, don't just follow the herd,
Right.
do your own research.
Figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
Don't be a sheep.
And that's so important because, we're bombarded with information these days.
Constantly.
Social media, news headlines.
Yeah, your friends and family.
Everybody's got an opinion.
Everybody's a financial expert all of a sudden.
Right. So for our listener,
Mhm.
who's been listening to all this,
Yeah.
what's the one action step you would recommend they take?
Go check out Real Vision's YouTube channel.
Okay.
Just start exploring.
Yeah.
Find the topics that resonate with you and,
Yeah.
and don't just passively watch.
Yeah.
Like, actually engage with the material.
Yeah.
Take notes. Ask questions.
Yeah. And maybe even join the conversation, in the comments.
Yeah.
Share your thoughts.
Exactly.
Challenge the experts.
Yeah.
And if you're really, feeling it, subscribe to the premium platform.
Yeah, it's an investment
Yeah.
in your financial education.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Now, before we sign off, I want to leave our listener with a thought-provoking question.
Okay.
If you could sit down with one of the experts featured on Real Vision, somebody like Raoul Pal or Kyle Bass,
Uh-huh.
and ask them one question about the future of the economy or markets, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I'd have to think about that.
right.
What would be the one question I would ask?
Yeah, what's the most important thing you want to know?
Yeah, to help you make decisions about your own financial future.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of Real Vision.
Yeah.
They spark that curiosity.
They do.
They ignite that passion for learning,
Yeah.
and they empower you to kind of take control of your financial future.
It's like they open your mind
Yeah.
to a whole new world of possibilities.
Well said. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Real Vision.
Yeah, this was fun.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep investing in yourself